Alrighty. So we will go ahead and get started. It is 3:15. Thank you all for joining me today. My name is Kelsey Whitehead. I am one of our physical therapist assistants with our health clinic team. A little bit about my background. I went to Boise State for my undergraduate and got a degree in kinesiology, exercise science. And then I just graduated last year in 2022 with my physical therapist assistant degree from North Idaho College. Went to school down here at LC, so really enjoy working in the Valley. I am an avid CrossFitter, so a lot of these movements with that, my PT background, really focusing on having our bodies move well as a whole, just so that we are able to use our bodies well long into our lives so that, it's easier to tie our shoes, get out of bed, not feel stiff in the morning. So with that, I will go ahead and let you guys take the next 5-10 minutes, warm up, get warm, just because we will be stretching our bodies. Nothing worse than stretching cold muscles. So if you guys want to go ahead and do that, I will put my voice on pause, music back up, and we'll get started with that. Alrighty, we will go ahead and get started. I'm gonna get my timer out real quick so I keep myself on track. So our first session will be a little bit shorter. Our first movement today is going to be child's pose. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that movement. Kind of hard with a mic, but you're going to start just slightly kind of seated back on your heels. You can have your legs just slightly wider than shoulder, hip width apart, and then you're going to lean forward, down into this position. Try to poke your head through that hole, and we're going to hold this for 3 minutes. Good. And then if that feels like it's too easy, feel free to grab one of your yoga blocks, and you can put your hands on top of that to kind of get more of a stretch through your shoulders. Good. One more minute. Perfect. And then go ahead and come out of that slowly. Next, we'll be up on our hands and our knees for cat-cow. 2 minutes here. So starting in this position, you're going to push through your hands, round out your back, and then nice and slowly sink down into an arched position. And then keep alternating between those two. Good. One more minute. Perfect. Next we are Next we are going to be doing what is called thread the needle. So you can use a yoga block if you want for this. Sometimes it's a little bit easier if being in that kind of down position doesn't feel good. So we're threading with our right arm to start. You can put your hand on that yoga block, and then you're going to try to thread your right arm through, getting some rotation through that upper mid-back. Good. Go ahead and switch. Now, right arm up on that block or on the ground, threading that left side through. Perfect. Go ahead and come out of that. Next, we will be doing open books or a open book hold. If you're seated in a chair, feel free to just do rotations to the one side. Those of us on the ground, go ahead and start laying on your left side. I like to do knees bent kind of in 90 degrees, just for a little bit more balance stability there. Then you're gonna start placing your hands together. Your hands are going to be the pages of said book. And then you're gonna open up, keeping your hip on the ground, having your head follow with your shoulders. You can either hold it here, or if you feel like, I need a little bit more stretching into that position to be able to open up fully, you can just alternate between that starting and ending position. So if you're only getting to here, feel a stretch, and go ahead, open back up, or feel free to do that full hold. Perfect. And then go ahead and roll over or switch sides. I always notice I'm definitely more stiff one side versus the other. Perfect. Next, we'll be moving into sleeper stretch. So go ahead and roll back onto that other side. I'm pretty much going to be laying on our side, starting with our arm like this, and then working that internal rotation. So you can sit here and do this back and forth. If you're in that seated position, laying down, it's going to look like this. So my arm's kind of at that 90, elbow at 90, and I'm pushing down into that stretch of the shoulder. So we should be putting pressure either on our wrist, keeping our wrists straight so this isn't really stretching my shoulder, it's stretching my wrist, or if it helps, pushing down on that wrist itself into that stretch. So start up here, perfect. Take your hand on the other side and then go down. Exactly. Good, and we'll go ahead and switch sides so you can roll over. Need to make sure I remember to turn my screen to not go to sleep. And then do the other side. So starting up at that 90-90, back of the wrist, pushing down towards the inside. Should be feeling that stretch on the back side of that shoulder. Perfect. Go ahead and come out of that. Next, we'll be moving into lizard stretch. You may want to grab your yoga blocks if you're really unflexible like me, which is exactly why I wanted to teach this class. So lizard is you're starting in a lunge position, and then you're going to be leaning forward and leaning your torso down. So ideally, you could have both elbows on the ground, but I am not that flexible. So I really enjoy having the yoga blocks because it makes it feel like, oh, I can get my elbows down. But even if we're just starting up on our hands, perfectly fine there. So you want both arms on the inside of that leg. So make sure your knee is on the outside. So go ahead and, perfect. There we go. Good. And then where your hands are placed is kind of the same location you want your foot to be. So if you want, foot and yoga block to be in the same position, and then leaning that torso down. Good. And I will warn you, we're holding this for 2 minutes. One thing that always helps me get through the long times is thinking about, okay, what am I making for dinner? What steps do I have to do to get to the end result of dinner? I gotta drive home, I gotta start the oven, gotta get all the ingredients prepped. After that, I should probably fold some laundry. How many loads do I have to do? Anything to pass time. Good, stay in that position. We've got 1 more minute. Less than 30 seconds. Perfect. Same leg for this next stretch, but we are moving into pigeon pose. So again, I am really not flexible in my hips, but we're gonna take your leg, bend it. Some people do your knees here and your foot's out here. I am not that flexible, but from here, working to laying flat on your chest across that leg should definitely feel it in that glute region, the stretch itself. We're good. Yep. See, that's exactly what you should be doing. I am not that flexible. Great work. This is where yoga blocks come in handy too. So if you really want to focus on getting that chest down to get a deeper stretch, but it's not comfortable enough to get there, you can use those yoga blocks. Place your elbows there. And see, after I talked for a whole minute, we just have 1 minute left. Perfect. I want you to start coming out of that movement slowly. And you'll go ahead and you'll bring that left leg forward for that lizard pose on the left side. Again, if you're using that yoga block and your foot in alignment with each other, arms on that inside of the leg, working down, getting your elbows down. Making sure we're breathing. I'm definitely known to just stop breathing and hold my breath and not even realize it for quite some time. Good, we've got a few more seconds here. Perfect. Now, same leg, but transitioning into that pigeon pose. So now tuck in that heel underneath, laying across our shin and thigh. Surprisingly, I am right side dominant for everything, but my left hip has a lot more flexibility. So I can sit here like this, but not on my right side. Oh, I actually made Copycat Cafe Rio sweet pork this weekend, and I made enchiladas with it, so I don't have to cook tonight. I just have to reheat. I'm pretty excited. Yes, most of the time if I don't want to cook, I'll text my mom and see what she is making at her house for dinner, and then kind of invite myself over, which I think she doesn't mind. Good, we've got a few more seconds here. Go ahead and start coming out of it nice and slow. We're going to be sitting on our bums for this last pose of today for a seated forward fold. So just reaching out, touching the toes or your shins, wherever we're at. Got about 30 more seconds here. Challenge you to lean forward a little bit more with each exhale. Taking nice, slow breaths, relaxing and sinking in. Perfect. You can go ahead and come out of that. And that was your first class. Thank you all for joining me. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much you guys progress kind of over the next 6 weeks, how flexible we can get, and if you guys start noticing changes in kind of your daily lives and, oh, that felt a little bit easier, or I'm not in as much pain during such and such activity. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you guys all on Wednesday.